And we're back with this week's Roundtable contributors, all veterans of this program and people whose thoughts we value and are valued by the Washington business community. A big roundtable this week with lots of big news. Alex Orfinger is publisher of the Washington Business Journal. Bill Ridenour is the president of John Marshall Bank. And Brian Koster is the CEO of Koster Valuation Management Services. Thank you all for being here. Alex, let's get to it. Some news for the Washington Business Journal, new look, new paper.
We've got some big changes coming out next week. It's the end of a long evolution for us to be giving our readers a little bit more of what they want and where they want it, when they want it, and how they want it.
Okay, well, you know that we have a deep girl and boy crush here on the Washington Business Journal. So we value it just as it is, and we may fear change. So what is it that we're going to be enjoying out of the paper and make sure we're not going to lose anything that we depend on so heavily?
We remain committed to providing intelligence that you can't get anywhere else. Business intelligence to our readers. I think of our reporters a little bit like intelligence drones.
We do as well.
They're flying.
Who also actually happen to be very good on television for crime reporters. But
drones, I mean, in the intelligence way. They're drones sort of flying over our community and gathering information that we can give to our readers when they want it.
Why the change? It's a successful product as it is. In fact, I have sources deep inside American Business Journal at the Charlotte headquarters who tell me that thanks in part to your great leadership, that Washington Business Journal is one of the most profitable, if not the most profitable, of all the properties owned by American Business Journal.
That is true, but our industry is changing dramatically, as you all know. And this is just to stay ahead of it. Our readers have told us time and time again that they count on our weekly edition to give them the intelligence they need, the background, sort of stories that are connecting the dots so that they can sit down with their cup of coffee over the weekend and say, aha, that's how all of these pieces of news make sense to me. But they also want the news throughout the week, every day, when and where they want it. So we want to, again, think of this intelligence drone flying over Greater Washington.
Very good.
And that's what we want to provide.
Bigger and better, but we won't lose anything that we count on.
You count on now.
Well, Bill, another thing that, watch this segue, that we've been counting on is the safety of community banks during this recession. Many people flock to them. John Marshall Bank has really spread its wings further than almost anyone. I saw, thanks to my friends at the Washington Business Journal, that this past year were the 5th most profitable bank in Washington, and your growth in net income, I think, had the highest number of any of the top 10. 61% growth in net income. How do you keep growing when people may be once again attracted to those riskier big banks that may sell some of the financial products that you all shied away from and became a safe haven during the storm?
Well, I think it goes back to our people that we have at the bank. We've been able to attract some really talented lending and deposit gathering bankers that have a 20, 30 years experience in the marketplace.
And you all personalized it in a way that some of the bigger banks can't. But let's talk about some of those financial products that you all have shied away from. There's a lot of news organizations this week reporting that some of them are becoming attractive again as the market starts to grow. What are you going to shy away from as a bank, and what are you going to embrace?
Well, what we try and do is focus on those products and services where we think we have a market niche. For example, if something is a commodity, such as a home equity line or a car loan or a mortgage loan, you really need to have a certain volume to be competitive in that market. We don't think, we have the volume to do that. So what we focus on is small business lending, small business cash management, anything that has to do with a relationship where the business owner can come to us, sit down and partner with us in their growth plans.
And that's never going to be out of style, no matter where the economy is. Well, Brian, let's turn to you about where the economy is. Federal Reserve came out with their beige book. Family assets are growing. We are seeing some healthy signs of this economy, but as you well know, that's making the market the good news is making the market freak out, worried that the Fed may stop their quantitative easing, stop some of their bond buying. Do you think we're in for shaky roller coaster time right now, or do you think this is all going to be slow and steady growth?
Well, I think that the purchase market will still do well. I mean, there's still a lot of built-up demand for purchases, and that'll continue easily 2013, 2014. When it comes to residential, and you guys deal in commercial space a lot more, so on the residential side, the rates going up would make a big difference, just a slight difference. I mean, half a percentage point, you would see rates, refinances drop, 80, 90%.
Take someone like me who sat out the recession. I moved from a house to an apartment. I rent. I'm now in the mood to buy. Do I jump in now when inventory is still scarce in the Washington real estate market and not miss out on low interest rates, or am I okay to sit it out a little bit longer?
Great time to buy. I would go for it. And the reason is interest rates are still low. Inventory is going to be low for the next year or two. They haven't been building enough. So if you look at the amount of real estate needed to just keep up with population growth, it's like 1.2, 1.3 million units a year. They've been building 500,000. They'll probably build 700,000 this year. There's a shortage of homes, specifically in the D.C. metropolitan area.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Get out there, put your home on the market. There's a lot of us ready to buy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and come back with more advice from you all given today's economy. We're going to be back with Washington Business Report after the break. And we're back with Bill Ridenour of John Marshall Bank, Brian Koester, and Alex Orfinger. Thank you all. Brian, we were getting advice from you, as we like to do, and we were talking about real estate. Tell us a little bit more about how you're looking at this market right now.
Well, the market in the D.C. area is actually really good. I mean, if you look at the first-time home buyer market, over 70% of purchases have multiple offers, with 50% coming within the first 2 weeks. So that's a pretty hot market. I mean, you're talking anything in that $200,000 to $400,000 range is going to move really quickly. And I think you had some statistics on that.
Yeah, we reported this morning that listing prices in the Washington area are up 9% so far. So that's a pretty substantial increase for just the listing prices. And when you're adding on that, prices are going, sales are going for even higher than the listing prices. It's pretty impressive.
Talk about investors freaking out. You guys are freaking me out a little bit because I'm not yet ready to buy, and I'm worried if I don't feel it now, I'm going to miss that opportunity. Well, what else do you have? This is the last edition. This is going to be a collector's item before we get the new look. So what's in the Friday edition this week that people should be looking out for?
Well, in this week's edition, I think we've got one of our great special sections on a level of corporate philanthropy in the region. You'll notice that Capital One is the top giver in the community to local nonprofit organizations, and Deloitte does the most volunteering of any corporation in the region with a lot of hours. So
our hats off to two of them, and a profile of a woman who's been getting a lot of attention because some people say she took a step down to come to Washington, but we say she was smart to team up with who she did.
Yeah, you've got to read about Patty Stonecipher, who's the new CEO of Martha's Table, just to hear her talking about her her kitchen table chats with Bill and Melinda Gates in her former life as the head of the Gates Foundation. She's terrific.
Is she at Martha's Table, or is she at Capital Area Food Bank?
No, she's at Martha's Table.
Okay, so my apologies, because we've talked about Capital Area Food Bank here as well, so all good philanthropies. And Bill, let's talk about philanthropic endeavors. It's something that's been a recurring theme in this show. You've taken on your own mission that I thought was interesting, because when you recruited people to get involved, you didn't even ask them to make a donation. The bank, John Marshall Bank, did it for them. You guys are known for your community lending, but yours had a personal note. Talk about why you're involved in Wounded Warriors and what's coming up.
Well, part of being a community bank is being active in the community. We do a lot of different things. Personally, my oldest son Thomas was served in Iraq in 2008, and he was wounded by a roadside bomb there.
We should say he is okay now.
He is fine.
And thank him for his service.
As a matter of fact, he and his wife are getting ready to have a little baby girl here pretty soon.
Congratulations.
So, but because of that, I realized the impact that has on the men and women that serve and their families. And so we've started a motorcycle ride to raise money for the Wounded Warrior Project, and our second annual ride is next Saturday.
And you're a rider.
I am.
Well, kudos to all of you for your help with us today and for the roles that each of you play in your community. It's been a good week to talk about corporate philanthropy. We hope it inspires everyone.